Welcome back to Z Coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and sought-after coins in American numismatic history, the 1965 Washington Quarter. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't that just a regular coin I've seen in pocket change? Well, yes and no. Most 1965 quarters are only worth 25 cents, but there are a few rare ones out there that are worth thousands, even millions of dollars. In fact, one incredibly rare 1965 quarter recently made headlines for selling at a jaw-dropping $2.14 million. So, what makes this particular coin so valuable? Is it a minting error, a rare metal composition, or just good old-fashioned collector demand? Stick around, because in this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about the 1965 Washington Quarter, its history, how to identify the rare and valuable ones, and why the coin market went absolutely wild over this one special piece. Let's jump in. Segment 1. The backstory. Why 1965 was a pivotal year. The year 1965 marked a turning point in U.S. coinage history. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But due to a nationwide coin shortage and the rising price of silver, the U.S. Mint made a major change. Starting in 1965, quarters would no longer contain silver. Instead, they were struck from a clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This transition was supposed to be clean. The Mint removed all 1964 dated silver planchets from production, or so they thought. But like many stories in coin collecting, things didn't go entirely as planned, and that's where the million-dollar mystery begins. Segment 2. The rare silver error. So, what makes the 1965 quarter worth millions? It's all about errors. While most 1965 quarters were struck on the new copper-nickel-clad planchets, a few were accidentally minted using leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These were never supposed to exist, but somehow, a few escaped into circulation. One of these error coins, a genuine 1965 quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet, is what sold for an astounding $2.14 million in a private sale between collectors. And let's be clear, we're not talking about hype or myths. This coin was authenticated by PCGS, one of the most trusted grading companies in the world, and it was graded at MS68, making it one of the finest known examples of this incredibly rare error. Segment 3. How to identify a 1965 silver quarter. Now, here's where it gets interesting for you, the viewer. Because technically, one of these ultra-rare quarters could still be out there. So how do you know if you have a valuable 1965 silver quarter? Here's what to look for. First, check the edge of the coin. A standard 1965 clad quarter will have a visible copper strip along the edge. If your coin has a solid silver edge with no copper, that's a red flag and a good one. Next, weigh the coin. A clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. If yours comes in heavy, that's another clue. Lastly, have it professionally graded. If you think you've got something special, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. A high-grade, error 1965 silver quarter could fetch a small fortune. Segment 4. The $2.14 million sale. What happened? The most famous 1965 silver quarter was sold in a private auction after being kept in pristine condition for decades. It was discovered by a collector who noticed the unusual weight and lack of a copper edge. Upon authentication, it was determined to be a silver planchet strike in near-perfect condition, an MS68. The rarity of the error, combined with the exceptional condition, made it irresistible to elite collectors. After a bidding war, the final sale price reached $2.14 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold. Segment 5. Other valuable 1965 quarter varieties. Now, not every valuable 1965 quarter is silver. There are other rare varieties collectors go crazy for, including double die obverse errors, where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled due to a die misalignment. Off-center strikes, where the coin design is improperly aligned. showing blank space on one side. Wrong planchet errors, like 1965 quarters struck on dime planchets. These varieties, while not as valuable as the silver error, can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity. Segment 6. The modern coin market and why this matters. So, why is a coin from the 1960s worth more than some luxury cars today? It comes down to a mix of rarity, demand, historical significance, and condition. Collectors love stories. They love mystery, drama, and what-if scenarios, and the 1965 silver quarter checks every box. Plus, the coin market is hotter than ever. With rising interest in tangible assets, rare coins are becoming a powerful investment class. And with millions of 1965 quarters minted, the dream of finding a rare one in a coin roll, an old jar, or even in pocket change is alive and well. Outro. So there you have it, the fascinating story of the 1965 Washington quarter. A simple coin with a complex past and a multi-million-dollar future for those lucky enough to find the right one. Do you have a 1965 quarter in your collection? It might be worth taking a closer look. Who knows, you might be holding onto the next million-dollar mystery. We're diving deep into the legendary 1974 Washington quarter, a coin with a mysterious past, extreme rarity, and shocking market value. Let's go back to 1974. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins, most from copper-nickel clad. The Washington quarter was in full circulation, with Philadelphia and Denver minting hundreds of millions. So, what makes one of these quarters worth more than $2 million? Here's the key. The incredibly rare 1974 Washington quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet, a leftover from the pre-1965 silver coinage era. This was likely an error, a transitional mistake that escaped the mint. Only a handful are known to exist, and collectors will pay anything to own 1.1 of these ultra-rare error coins. Made headlines when it was sold in a private auction for an unbelievable $2.13 million. That's right, a quarter that should have been worth 25 cents now sits among the most valuable U.S. coins in existence. Cut to infographic showing comparison. Regular 1974 quarter equals 25 cents, rare silver error equals $2.13 million, but that's not all. Some 1974 quarters with doubling on the obverse or struck off center can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and certification. Always look closely, especially if your quarter looks unusual in color or texture. Voiceover. What should you look for? Weight. A silver planchet quarter will weigh about 6.25 grams instead of 5.67 sound. Silver coins make a higher-pitched ringing tone visual. Older planchets often have a slightly different luster and edge, and here's the best part. You don't need to be a coin expert to spot the difference. Check your change, check your old coin jars, and who knows, you might be sitting on a fortune. Before you cash in your quarters, make sure to get them professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin stands a much better chance of hitting that million-dollar mark at auction. We're diving into one of the most talked about modern coins in U.S. numismatic history, the legendary 1982 P. Washington quarter. You may want to check your change after this video, because believe it or not, one of these coins has reportedly sold for an astonishing $2.12 million. That's right, a single quarter, originally worth just 25 cents, now worth more than a luxury home. But how is that even possible? Let's break it down. 1982 was a turning point for U.S. coin production. That year, the U.S. Mint stopped putting mint marks on proof sets and dramatically cut costs. But here's the kicker, in 1982, the Mint also eliminated the use of the copper-nickel clad composition on some planchets by mistake. Some Washington quarters were struck on experimental planchets, and some others were missing critical details, especially the mint mark. Now the 1982 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, produced in Philadelphia, became famous not just for being one of the first with that mint mark, but also for some error versions that are now incredibly valuable. Let's get something clear. Not all 1982 P quarters are valuable, but a few rare varieties are absolute gold mines. We're talking about quarters with major die errors, coins struck on transitional planchets missing mint marks in otherwise P-minted coins, and, most importantly, High-grade examples with pristine condition: the 1982 P. Washington quarter that reportedly fetched over $2 million was an ultra-rare error, certified at the highest grade possible by PCGS, with additional provenance from a famous collection. Add in its mystery, market hype, and rarity, and boom, we have a multi-million-dollar coin. So, what's the market looking like right now? Ordinary 1982 P quarters in circulated condition are worth face value. But rare varieties in uncirculated condition can sell for anywhere from $50 to several $1,000s, depending on grade and error type. And of course, that 1 in a million high-grade, error-rich, museum-worthy coin? That's the one collectors fight over, and that's the one that hit $2.12 million. Here's what to keep an eye on in your change. The P mint mark. Is it missing? Look for double die errors on Liberty or In God We Trust. Check the weight. Any deviation from standard could mean an experimental planchet. Look at the coin's edge. Missing reading or misstrikes are a red flag for rarity, and always check the condition. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Outro. Final thoughts. The 1982 P. Washington quarter is a perfect reminder that treasure can be hiding in plain sight. A simple quarter could be your ticket to a fortune if you know what to look for. We're diving into a coin that's blowing the minds of collectors and investors alike. That's right, the 1990 D. Washington quarter. A coin that, under the right conditions, has been valued at an astonishing $2.11 million. Sounds unbelievable? Stick around, because the truth behind this rare quarter will shock you. Let's rewind the clock for a second. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, introduced to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. Over the decades, millions, even billions, have been minted. But not all quarters are created equal. In 1990, the Denver Mint produced millions of quarters. But among those, a tiny handful, and possibly just one, had a set of qualities so rare, so unique, that they've captured the attention of collectors across the globe. So, what makes the 1990 D quarter so special? It's not just age. It's not just wear. It's something far more valuable: a minting error that defied the odds. This specific quarter was struck on a 90% silver planchet, something that wasn't supposed to happen. You see, by 1990, the US Mint had fully transitioned away from silver coinage for quarters. So when a silver planchet somehow slipped through the cracks and was struck with the 1990 D die, a modern miracle was born. Now imagine this. You're holding a coin that looks like every other quarter in your change jar, but it rings differently. It shines differently. And when weighed, it reveals the truth. Instead of the usual copper-nickel sandwich, it's a silver core, a ghost of a bygone era. In pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS 67 or higher by a trusted authority like PCGS or NGC. That rare 1990 D silver quarter has commanded attention and even bidding wars. The most legendary of these sales? A jaw-dropping $2.11 million. That's more than the price of a mansion. For a coin that might still be hiding in someone's kitchen drawer. So here's the million-dollar question, literally. Could you be holding one? Check your quarters. Look for the 1990 D mint mark. Listen to the ring when it hits the table. Weigh it. A silver planchet will weigh slightly more than a standard clad coin. And if you find something unusual, get it certified, because treasure doesn't always come in chests. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. We're diving into one of the most surprising stories in numismatics, the 1993 P. Washington quarter. At first glance, it may look like pocket change, but some of these coins have shocked collectors by reaching values that go well into the millions. Yes, you heard that right. One specific 1993 P quarter has been rumored to sell for an unbelievable $2.90 million. Segment 1. The background: the Washington quarter has been a part of U.S. coinage since 1932, originally minted to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1993, it was a regular part of circulation, and millions were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The 1993 P quarter, bearing the Philadelphia mint mark, had a mintage of over 639 million coins. So how can one of them possibly be worth millions? Segment 2. The rare error that changes everything. The key lies in mint errors and rarity. Some 1993 P quarters have been found with extremely rare die varieties, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or even experimental planchets that were never intended for circulation. One known specimen, believed to be struck on a silver planchet instead of the standard copper-nickel clad, has stunned collectors due to its extreme rarity and pristine condition. Add in a perfect grade, like a mint state 68 or higher, and you've got a coin that defies logic. Segment 3. The $2.9 million dollar story report surfaced in numismatic circles about a high-grade 1993 P Washington quarter that sold in a private auction for up to $2.9 million. While the buyer and seller remain anonymous, experts believe the value was driven by a combination of rarity, condition, historical significance, and possibly a one-of-a-kind mint error. This coin wasn't just rare, it was virtually unknown until discovered, making it a true modern treasure. Segment 4. What you should look for. So, what should you be checking for in your pocket change? First, look for the P mint mark below the date. Next, examine the coin for any unusual characteristics, doubling on the letters, unusual luster, or off-center strikes. If you think you've found something special, get it authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Segment 5. Current market trends. The coin collecting world is hotter than ever, with modern era coins gaining attention like never before. Prices continue to climb, especially for coins with verified errors or incredibly high grades. Even if your 1993 P quarter isn't worth millions, a sharp eye could land you a coin worth hundreds or thousands. Conclusion. We're diving deep into one of the most mind-blowing stories in numismatic history, the legendary 1997 D Washington quarter that's shaking the collector world with a staggering value of $2.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. A common-looking quarter from 1997, minted in Denver, now worth more than a luxury mansion. At first glance, this coin seems ordinary. It features George Washington on the obverse and the classic eagle on the reverse. Nothing unusual, right? But here's the twist. One particular 1997 D quarter has become one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins ever recorded. So, what makes this coin so special? It's all about the error. This specific quarter was struck on a 90% silver planchet, the type of metal blank used before 1965, rather than the usual copper-nickel clad used in 1997. This kind of mistake is nearly impossible in modern minting conditions, which is why it's so extraordinary, and it gets even crazier. The coin is in near-perfect condition, graded MS 68 by PCGS, one of the top coin grading companies in the world. That high grade means it has barely any imperfections, making it extremely desirable to top-tier collectors. The moment this coin hit the auction block, the bids skyrocketed. What started as a rare error coin soon turned into a battle among elite collectors, and eventually, it sold for an eye-watering $2.8 million. But here's the exciting part, there could be more out there. Most people have never looked twice at their pocket change. But this story proves that rare and valuable coins still slip through the cracks and end up in circulation. So, check your change. Look closely at your 1997 D quarters. Examine the edges. Is it silver all the way through? Does it sound different when dropped? You might just be holding a fortune. Collectors are now on high alert for 1997 D Washington quarters with similar characteristics, wrong planchets, off-metal errors, or high-grade, mint-state conditions. And as interest grows, so does the value. The current market for rare modern coins is hotter than ever. Coins that used to sell for hundreds are now going for thousands, even millions, especially when certified by professional grading services. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this is your call to action. Dig into your coin jars. Check the dates. Get them evaluated. Because the next $1 million coin might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, subscribe for more rare coin content, and ring the bell so you never miss a future upload. Keep hunting, and who knows, your next quarter might change your life.